Hey everybody, this is Hillside Prepper 552. We got some toolboxes here today in the video. You're about to find out why after this. Now I'll do the intro. Da, 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 da. So we'll cut this part out. I'm recording, so. Okay, I'm recording, Aiden. Aiden, I'm recording. You're cutting my time down. All right, good evening, everybody. This is Hillside Prepper 552. Today, if I can look at my calendar correctly, is Sunday, October 17th. Got a couple things to go over before we get into why this is all in the video. This is a kind of important something to think about in the video before we get to this is going to be space and storage is a premium. That's going to be a big important reason why these are here. Can't cut the branding out, but not endorsing the branding. So we'll just take it from there. But in prepping news for a couple things, we had talked about yesterday the problems with my local Dollar General, the ones that I took pictures of, and sent them privately to another person today down in Texas and asked them if this was an issue down there, and they said not where they're shopping, but someone else, another YouTuber on here, shared the pictures on their video today, and a lot of the comments that I am seeing on that person's channel is that it's the same consistency with Dollar Generals throughout the whole United States. So yeah, this is a big global problem, but really it's just part of this bigger problem that we're going to continue seeing for who knows how long. Can't predict the end of it, right? So prepping news, La Palma. We've talked about that last week, a couple weeks ago, whenever last time I did a video on it was, and it's getting a lot more dangerous now. There's a guy, Bushcraft Bear, something or other on YouTube. I'll link his channel down below, but one of the things he's been talking, he lives on the island of La Palma. One of the things he was talking about the other day was how thick and how heavy the smoke's getting, and it's making the air quality tougher, and it's matching some consistencies like Mount St. Helens did back in the 80s. You'd be worried about pyroclastic flows. Now, this is something I've had to explain to quite a few people who weren't familiar with pyroclastic flows. People think of the lava and the smoke and the ash. They don't think about the pyroclastic flows. So that is a superheated cloud, fast traveling cloud of gas. It has sulfur gas. It has pumice in it, and it's superheated. It's thousands of degrees, something like that. Basically, if you look at the Pompeii, it's perfectly preserved. That's what would happen. It's like an instant death situation. But when you have a pyroclastic flow and you have all those people around on a small island, that makes me very concerned. So, I'm not really sure what this website is. It just says AS. Let me go back to Google and see. It just says AS. Maybe it's something Australian. I don't know. La Palma volcano live updates today. Eruption, tsunami warning, and latest news. This is a USA thing. This was today's date. The headlines: volcanic activity enters 28th day on Sunday. This began last month, September 19th. 83 earthquakes were registered in La Palma last 24 hours. Largest was magnitude 4.5. Lava flow now covers surface area of 753.8 hectares, according to Copernicus radar imaging, with 16.9 hectares added in just 7 hours. Not familiar with that unit of measurement. You can probably Google that, whatever that means. 9 more buildings destroyed by the lava flow, bringing a total to 1,835. That's quite a lot. Spanish soccer governing body La Liga to auction shirts in support of those affected in La Palma. No short or medium term end to eruption, claim experts, as more La Palma residents forced to evacuate. Lava is forming a huge delta on the La Palma coast. Delta has claimed around 40 hectares of new land from the Atlantic. So the big thing that we're still concerned about with all this, and yes, this will be in the link or the description as well, is the tsunami. You know, having a mega tsunami again if you have so much rock. Example that was in a video I watched a while ago was 500 cubic feet falling 6,000 feet into the ocean. You have water displacement, and then all that water's just going to travel. It's not just going to go out for a few miles and stop. It's going to keep traveling because it keeps feeding the energy to different waves. Those waves keep picking it up and they keep going, affect places like the whole Northeast, the whole southern coast, the Gulf of Mexico just would be completely underwater and inundated. And one comment I had made yesterday in conversation was we didn't learn anything really from Katrina because we still have a lot of flooding issues with inundation, yes, down in the south. And maybe some people who live in the south will agree with me. Some of the houses per code have to be built on stilts, so you have those concrete stilts. Probably, I don't know how many they do. I've seen houses with 4 stilts at the base, and then you have your house higher up. That's good for flooding. Might necessarily be good for wind, but with they talk about 150-foot tsunami wave. Maybe that's not going to make a difference in the end of things. But so that's the biggest issue that we worry about with La Palma. Obviously, there's residents that are affected by this. So in this article I read, ABC's got they have an ABC tweet attached that shows the smoke. So this is pretty bad. This is something from the local media that I do not follow to the T, but I do read them because a lot of the local events come through this news station, and I couldn't help but had a good laugh reading it today. It was titled "How to Spot Shrinkflation at the Grocery Store and Save Money." This is great. This is the best part of all this is they just state the obvious that we've known for months, for over a year now. And actually, for years, when you kind of talk about shrinkflation, how your products, like your potato chips, your ketchups, your mustards, you have less volume in the containers now. They're charging more for less. Nobody's, and in this article they say that General Mills, Tillamook, they've owned up to it. They know what they're doing, but people are still going to buy it. In this article, their suggestion is if you're grocery shopping on a tight budget and trying to avoid getting duped by shrinkflation, make sure you're calculating the per ounce price of goods. That could involve whipping out the calculator, but often the grocery store will do the work for you. Just read the smaller print on the store's price label, and they give an example of this. They show two Heinz ketchup bottles at 12 ounces for $3.87. Then they show an 18-ounce bottle, and it's the organic ketchup for $5.85. So it's the ketchup on the left, 12 cents per ounce, and the organic option is 18 cents per ounce. Not hard to really figure out, but I just and they never gave, and that's the only tip that the news media gave in this one. So not very helpful when you're talking about shrinkflation and when we talk about hyperinflation. This isn't saving money at all. On a tight budget, yeah, might be more likely to buy the 12-ounce bottle of ketchup, but if you got a little more extra money in your pocket, like people did during the stimulus checks, you're gonna buy that bigger bottle, but you're gonna use it. You're gonna be more frugal when you use it. The value of goods, in my opinion at least, if it's a greater price, you will place a more frugal option on the value of like food goods like ketchup. So that's important to keep in mind. And I don't know what the local news media was thinking on this one, but I'm not surprised in the least. I'm gonna scroll over to AppMax like I always do for these videos. Silver's up 10 cents, 23.54 spot price. Gold is up $3.10. Platinum's down 2.90, and palladium is down $18.10. So not much change there over the weekend. A little up, it fluctuates like it always will. But AppMax is a good place where I buy silver, and I always like to keep an eye on the spot price because I do have silver product. And if in a situation where if silver was ever skyrocketed and that was if I had to sell off, you'd have more money. So it's always good. Maybe someday I'll get an ounce of gold or whatever, but it's so expensive. It's almost $1,800 just for an ounce of gold. Or maybe I'll just go dig it on my own. I don't know. So anyway, moving on to what the video is really about today is we have all these toolboxes here. I'm gonna go ahead and move this out just a little bit so I have more room to work with. Hopefully, you guys can still hear me. Um, so space, and especially storage space, is a premium. Uh, you live in a house with other people, or you have a smaller house. Having space is a premium. Now, originally, I wanted to get these for tools. I don't have enough tools to fill all these boxes. Basically, my tote bag up here, which I'll show in a minute, has all my tools. But um, I was doing research on these, and I wasn't specifically looking for just Craftsman. I was looking for some kind of stackable box system. You know, if anyone lives in the big cities like New York City, you know that your biggest advantage is going up higher, especially in those little rinky-dink apartments. You got to go higher if you want to store things. So, what piqued my interest on this was a musician uses these. He has one of the top totes that has, it's like a clear box where you can see all the stuff, and he uses this whole system for um, video cameras, his electronical cords, charging cables, everything for his shows that he does. And he's just a small time guy, but it really comes in handy for him. So this was why I looked into this system a little bit. So anyway, back to it. The 17-inch tool tote here, and it fits a lot. A lot of these products are just hand tools, screwdrivers, zip ties are in here, some screws. There's a pocket for a screw gun or drill. These two outer pockets, or actually all these outer pockets, are meant for batteries. So this is really the handyman's thing to have. Works well. This was, I don't know, $56 at Lowe's or something like that. But it's very handy, good to have kind of thing. So I set that off to the side. And yes, when you get a lot in there, they get heavier and they get progressively heavier. So next thing is to start the whole cart. You have this top tote here. The cart comes in 3 pieces. I had to buy them all separately because Lowe's didn't have one put together, but you have this top one here. And really good for personal storage. If you want to store, I don't know, ammunition, checkbooks, whatever, you name it. It's a good thing to have. All these cases can lock. You can put a lock on here like this. So good thing to have. Very good thing to have. And running out of space. Okay, this one was originally not part of it, but I got this anyway. It's always good to have extra tools. This one's very heavy. This is a 215 piece mechanics set. Original MSRP on this was like 200, 250, something like that. And I said, no way at the beginning of all this am I going to pay for that. But the price, they had a sale on it, went down 120. For some odd reason, the price went way down. And the thing I didn't explain on the first one is you've got these tabs. It's an interlocking system, so these tabs lock into the one above it. So 215 piece, can always use mechanics set that has screwdrivers, has everything you can possibly think of in it. And in a quick pinch, like a SHTF situation that we always talk about, having those extra tools could be very handy. So going down the list here, this is a deeper tote. This is the middle one. In here I store cords, recording equipment, lots of different things. And here is also screw gun, drill, all those other types of things. And again, the interlocking part of this. Alright, and last but not least, this one's going to be a little bit harder to show. This is the bottom one. It's got the base on it. It's got wheels too. It's got a nice handle on it. Deep storage down here. This one's got a lot of books. It's got a lot of DVDs in it. And you might ask why, for all that, for this big system, why DVDs and books? Is the things I had to move to store. And really, it's deep storage. A lot of different companies like Craftsman, DeWalt, Milwaukee, they'll have these stacks. Rigid has a stack that's pretty darn cheap. So it's a worthwhile investment. For the whole set, it was like $108, something, no, 118 with tax, something like that. So we're rounding up to 120. The mechanics piece was 120, something like that. So now you're talking 240, and then Tad the tool tote with at $60, 280. So you spend less than $300 and you have a good storage space. I mean, even if you're just a regular construction guy, this is something good to have. But when you have space as a premium, storage is a premium, and you don't have much space to put anything else. For me, this set's really important to have. It does keep things nice and neatly stored. The things you don't see beyond this camera angle is there is a 5 layered shelf right here that's got stuff for my schooling. It's got different lock boxes. It's got printer. Right now I just pulled out my Bill O'Reilly Killing Series books because I want to start those. Alarm clock, ham radio, stuff like that. Obviously, you have the desk here, but again, with only one open door and 2 shelves, you don't really have a lot of room to work with, so you always use the pull-out drawer as well. But with space being such a huge, important piece and a big premium, why waste it on silly investments? I was buying badly made Chinese products that was like these white cube systems that you put together, and I think I paid like 50 or $60. Here I am thinking I'm getting a good deal out of all of it, and really I'm not. It kept falling apart, and the weird thing was it kept falling apart in such a weird manner. They were held together by these little circular plastic pieces, but the instructions told you make sure you use the zip ties and close, and it's like you have to zip tie every single part together. End up throwing the whole thing away because it was in such a mess. At first it was eight. It was a component of 8 different storage drawer or cabinets, and then it collapsed down to 4. Then it became a bedside table at 2, and then now it's just gone. So I had originally also had a white cabinet that I bought at a yard sale. The bottom piece was 2 open doors. The top piece was 2 pull-out drawers, and they separated. I only paid, I don't know, 20 or $30 for it. It was at a local yard sale, and that was really good up until the point where the wood started to get a little more damaged from having a lot more stuff in it. And I'd say probably the biggest mistake I made with that is storing too much stuff in such a little space. These are heavy duty containers made to hold large amounts of heavy tools. So I don't have any concerns about any of these, but anything plastic, the really weak plastic, anything that's not, it's like the cheaper wood that's used to make those Walmart desks or the Walmart cabinets. That's what I'm going to call them, because everybody runs to Walmart and buy those $50 desks, like the corner desk, and in a month it's falling apart. So storage is a premium. A lot of different things that we have talked about too with the prepping is you see it on everybody's channels. They talk about is having shelving. I mean, storage is a huge premium when it comes to canned goods, bottled water, anything you can really think of, medical supplies. We have multiple sets of these 5 layered black shelves, and they're only 5 layers high because that's the way we put them together. You can put them together with these circular pieces higher or lower, but to fit the needs and the design of the different rooms they're in, stacking them 4 or 5 high is not a bad option. They do hold their weight well. And some of those cans can get really heavy depending on the product that you buy. If you buy, grainy stuff, it might not be so heavy. But if you're buying potatoes or something that's a little bit heavier, then the weight of the shelf can really tip. And just like anything, you can think of it like being on a boat. You don't want everything on one side or the other. You don't want, especially on a boat, you don't want everything on the back end of the boat where the motor is. You're going to have the boat like this. You also don't want to have it on the bow where the boat goes like this. You want everything evenly spaced. You want it in the middle, equal weight among each different part of the boat. So that's the philosophy that I take when using these storage shelves. So space is a premium. We're going to keep an eye on La Palma. We're going to talk about, we're not going to talk about the shrinkage, whatever they call it, shrinkflation. We're not going to talk about that too much. I mean, that's that's pretty obvious. But we will talk about, the problems with hyperinflation, and obviously we'll be talking about those precious metals, because if by some, hopefully not, but if some by some chance the U.S. economy crashes and the dollar has no value, you have a precious metal that still has value. You have something to barter with. So there's just the things to think about. So again, you don't have to buy Craftsman. I'm not endorsed by Craftsman, so I want to make sure that YouTube knows that, because I don't want to get more. I don't want to get a strike. I've already had a strike on a different channel, and it's very hard to argue back with them that you're not endorsing this product without their permission. It just happens to be something that I have. So this has been the Hillside Prepper 552. We're always standing up for the red, white, and blue. Standing up for the anthem, and we're kneeling for the cross. That's it. Nothing else. So until next time, catch you guys later.